Bom dia! Good day and welcome back to the Flying Doctor channel. Today we're going to be testing out Brazil's first airline to sell low-cost tickets. They began operations in 2001 and have since dominated the market in Brazil as the low-cost carrier of choice. Albeit there aren't many options, but today we'll be trying GOL. Sounds like score in Portuguese because that's what it means. That's not their full name, it's GOL Linhas Aéreas Inteligentes, GOL Airlines. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. I'm sure someone will correct me. But either way, let's go ahead and get checked in the domestic terminal of São Paulo and see what GOL has to offer. Sit back, relax, get ready for another flight review. For those arriving into GRU from an international flight that need to connect onwards to a domestic flight, it's a decent walk from Terminal 3 where you'll arrive over to Terminal 2. If you need to get to Terminal 1, a bus is available. It was currently 7:45 a.m. and my departing flight wasn't scheduled until 1 p.m. I wasn't sure whether or not I'd be allowed airside this early, so I decided to check out the Urban Lounge and Cowork. My priority pass gave me a 3-hour visit, which was more than enough. Alright, well, I'm quite early, actually. If you saw my last video, you'll know that I have arrived from Panama aboard Copa Airlines, and we got in around 6:30 a.m. If I'm able to get a shower and that's clean, then I achieved my goal. I always get slimy and grimy sitting in a tube flying through the air at 35,000 feet, and showers are a great way to waken up. That's my primary reason here. The food selection is pretty poor, honestly. In terms of spaces in this lounge, it has a lot of very comfortable lounge chaise chairs, a variety of different seating, some little closed off business cubicles. There's no TVs, but I think most people here are stuck for an extended period of time and use it to rest and relax. There's also a nice view of the apron. But yeah, looking forward to checking out GOL. The time had come for my shower and I was pleased with the cleanliness. It's no 5-star hotel shower, but it's also not an ice cold tap dripping out of a rusty pipe. After exiting the lounge, I made my way to the check-in B area where GOL check-in counters are located. For whatever reason, online check-in wasn't working for me, and I decided to have a go at the self-service kiosk. Well, that was a pretty simple check-in process. I thought I had to see an agent because I couldn't get the app or the website to work on my phone, and it never gave me a confirmation that I did check in, but as it turns out, I somehow successfully checked in and just needed to print my boarding pass. So, still got several hours, but I think I'm gonna try to head airside because there are a number of lounges that I have access to that I'd like to take a peek inside. So, let's go ahead and see what domestic security is like in Brazil. Okay, we made it through security, no problem. Like a breeze. It's a little similar to TSA in the States, except didn't have any rude encounters. Thought I might have had a little bit of trouble getting in because I am quite early, but we're gonna go ahead and explore the terminal here a bit before we get to a lounge. So let's go ahead and take a little walk. If you're visiting Brazil or Latin America for that matter, the lounges are referred to as salas VIPs. São Paulo has no shortage of lounges, but it seems almost all passengers also have access to them.
Excluding the bank-backed Bradesco lounge, all were packed, and the shortest line to get in was with the Lounge São Paulo, so that's where I headed. After struggling to communicate with the front desk staff, I was let in and didn't know what to expect based on the crowd inside. There are multiple types of seats, but I couldn't be choosy. The buffet section had a variety of breakfast-related items. The only seat I found, which was one I actually preferred, was a corner spot in the office area. I set my bag down and tried the chia seed pudding, banana cake, and some sort of puff pastry. I also noticed a QR code on the table which linked to the lounge's additional food items. Eggs, please. And I'll also try the suco verde. A speedy 5 minutes later, my eggs arrived. They were eggs, and to my surprise, were not of the powdered, mass-produced variety. These were freshly scrambled.
Made my way to the gate and did a little reading up on GOL. There's a bit of an argument or misconception that they're a low-cost carrier, or at least still a low-cost carrier. Turns out that their fares and the service that they provide is, I guess, in line with what you would get with LATAM. The more low-cost carrier would be apparently Azul. You'll get a look into Azul in my next upcoming video. But in terms of GOL, they operate a fleet entirely made up of the Boeing 737s.
Today's aircraft is just pulling up to the gate, so let's quickly look at today's flight because Brazilians have a quick turnaround time. Belo Horizonte is the capital of the state of Minas Gerais, Brazil's second most populous state, and only 308 miles from GRU. We will be on board Papa Sierra Golf Papa India, a 5-year-old MAX 8, for the 1-hour flight. Stepping over the aircraft threshold, let's take a look at the seat map. Not many variations on today's aircraft as all seats are equal, more or less. 3 lavatories are on board for the 186 economy seats. I'm glad this isn't a long flight. GOL does offer what it calls GOL Plus Conforto, which are the same seats with slightly improved legroom and recline.
Alright, on the aircraft, and initial impressions are, well, it looks like a low-cost carrier. Legroom looks like a low-cost carrier. Cabin is relatively clean. It's very basic, not as basic as Frontier, but legroom is tight. There's maybe 2 rows of extra comfort seats up in the very front, and then they also sell the exit row as extra comfort. It's kind of cheating in my opinion, but who am I to judge? I'm not the owner of the airline. But anyways, there's a really fast turnaround time. Passengers were still deplaning and they were lining people up to board, having already scanned their boarding pass and passports or IDs. I'm assuming there's a lot of weather in the area because a lot of LATAM flights have been canceled. I do have a connection today and hopefully it remains scheduled. We'll see. So let's see what GOL has to offer on our way up to Belo Horizonte.
This is my first daytime departure from Brazil, so I was really looking forward to getting some views of the surrounding area. Mother Nature seems to have had other plans, however, with the thick, low-lying clouds.
So if you've ever looked on a map and seen Brazil, you're probably aware that it's a massive country, huge land area. And as you may also know, Brazil's known for the Amazon rainforest and the Amazon River. When I was completing my doctorate, I did a lot of work with arboviruses, which are viruses transmitted by insects like mosquitoes or ticks. The tropics region, aka the Amazon rainforest, is home to a number of vector-borne diseases, including including Zika virus, chikungunya, dengue virus, West Nile, yellow fever. Just recently, the Centers for Disease Control in the United States, their immunization recommendation program just recommended the use of the new chikungunya vaccine for people traveling to regions where that virus circulates. Now, if you look up these viruses online, you're probably going to see a lot of very morbid pictures, but odds are a majority of the people who are infected with these arboviruses don't end up showing symptoms. It varies virus to virus, but generally speaking, a lot of the flaviviruses like dengue or Zika virus, roughly 25% of people who are infected with the virus actually have symptoms. Unfortunately, the only thing that you can do to prevent these viruses from infecting you is actually to wear bug spray or, avoid getting bit by the mosquito or tick. When you live in the Amazon and there's a lot of moisture around, sometimes that's easier said than done. So last time I was in Brazil, I realized how many unique liveries there are for the various airlines here. Not so much Latam, but definitely with GOL and Azul. They have a lot of unique special liveries. And it kind of made me upset because I didn't take the time to plan a more useful trip when I was in South America. So this time I'm actually very glad that I had the time to fly with GOL. Now, I was a little worried last time I left Brazil that I wouldn't have the opportunity to fly with GOL because they filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy somewhat recently, and I believe they're in the middle of a restructuring. So I'm glad to see that they're still flying. I got myself a seat, and here we are, flying GOL.
Let's check out the seat before we're on the ground. I'd estimate the seat has around 28 or 29 inches of pitch. It's tight. Unlike Frontier, GOL didn't skimp out on the tray table and opted for a standard-sized extendable tray. The standard air vent, reading light, and call button are above your head, and the seat back pocket includes an airline and aircraft type specific safety card.
Well, just like that, we've begun our initial descent into the Belo Horizonte area. On the low-cost carrier model, there's no service. If you wanted a drink of water, you could ring the call button and they'd bring you water, but that's perhaps also due to the length of the flight. My nose had been getting my hopes up, though, because it smells like they're warming something up in the galley. Oh well. As we dip below the clouds here and get on final approach, I'll give you a cost breakdown on how much I paid for this flight.
How much did this flight cost? I paid $59 for the 308-mile journey, which turns out to be 19 cents per mile. Had I purchased the promo or light fares, the cost would have been 11 or 12 cents per mile respectively. But my ticket included a checked bag, which I didn't plan on having, as well as free seat selection. In hindsight, I should have gone with the light fare.
Bem-vindos a Confins. Permaneçam sentados com cintos de segurança fivelados até que os avisos de assassino se apaguem.
A theme to this trip that started to emerge is my failure to record an outro for each flight review, so you'll have to deal with the voiceover summary. As one of the 3 major carriers in Brazil, I found their product to be affordable with decent value for money. They delivered on the carrier's overall objective, and I arrived alive. The lack of USB or power ports in flight may leave some passengers feeling drained, but I suspect most people fly with GOL on shorter flights. If you've flown with GOL in the past, live in Brazil, or have flown one of the other Brazilian carriers, let me know what your thoughts are on today's review. As always, thanks for watching. See ya!